Initial research conducted in nearly 200 schools by the Center has demonstrated that the school learning environment, as measured by our ISQ survey system, is strongly associated with standardized academic performance, even after we remove the effects of social and economic risk factors. From these data, we drew tentative conclusions about cause and effect for individual schools, but to gather more information about change, we identified a large number of schools that used ISQ and selected from them one school that was able to demonstrate school improvement. And this is a case study of that school.
Okay.
Rich Middle School, which is located in northern Utah, has conducted ISQ for the last 9 years. Throughout these years, district administrators and the local school board members have learned about ISQ through meetings and reports presented to the school board through the ISQ staff. This coordinated effort lent support to the school principal, who employed ISQ data to design and monitor school change unique to their school's needs. Okay. For this particular study, we examined the relationship between the school environment, as was measured by the ISQ, and academic performance, which was measured in criterion reference tests given by the state of Utah. We selected language arts as the measure because language arts is a uniform content that was given across all grades at the school. For this study, we also looked at a span of time that went from 2002 to 2006. We did this because they began the ISQ process in 2002, and then a cohort of students came in as sixth graders in 2003, 1 year later, were at the school for 3 years, and then the additional year of examining how the environment changed. And so these 5 years bracket a cohort of students that moved through the school at that time. In the very first year that the school conducted ISQ, they were very much like their peers, at norm. But as the years progressed through 2003, 4, 5, and 6, they improved until all areas of the school were perceived to be significantly and noticeably different than their peer group. And so it was clear that a school could take information like this, chart improvement over time, and at the same time, chart academic growth over that time. From the second figure that you're looking at now, we can see that when the school began, the environmental data demonstrates that there were lots of areas that were in typical performance and even many that needed some improvement. And over the years, the yellow and red disappeared and was replaced by green and purple, superior and exemplary practice. Until the last year, there was no red remaining, and most of the school was considered as superior performance. During that same time, the sixth graders that came in the year 2003, 74% of them passed their language arts CRT. The following year, 88% passed, and these are the same students. And by the following year, 95% of those same students passed their language arts CRT. So although this is not proof of cause and effect, it is certainly strong evidence using the same kids over the time within the same content area and watching them improve in terms of the percentage of kids that reach mastery. And this was in perfect agreement with the environment as it changed over time. What follows is an interview with the principal of that school to give you an idea of his perception of the school environment and the kinds of things that they did to change the school environment and what they saw in terms of change in academic achievement. What was the school environment like when you first got here? Because those kids only came a short while after you came on as principal.
Correct. As I came on as principal, I think that they were the year after they came in as sixth graders. Mm-hmm. The school environment was actually pretty strong. We had a good staff, so our instructional quality was good. I was the third principal in as many years, so there wasn't some consistency in educational leadership that you would expect to have. We also did not have a real strong commitment from students. It was basically, if I go to school and show up here, I'm going to get passed on, and in 3 years I'll go to the high school. And so that was our biggest glaring educational community where we needed to change our environment was student commitment.
Now, as far as those kids, when they first got here, were they just a typical group of kids that you would see in this area? Or?
Yeah, they were. They're very typical. They were kids that, just came in as sixth graders, and they were scared to death because of the middle school environment to start with. They were changing classes all the time in that. There were not any real glaring weaknesses academic, but they were not really achieving huge either. They were just kind of middle of the road, show up to class and, kind of do their work a little bit as much as they needed to do, and just pretty average.
When you started to get the ISQ information back, what was the first place that you targeted? Do you remember?
There were two areas. Number one, we got information back that the parents didn't feel like that they knew what was going on in school. And so we targeted that area, and we did a couple things there. And the other thing is that the students did not have a commitment. At least it was perceived that they didn't have a commitment to their education. And that came mostly from the staff, but some of the parents and some of the kids.
When you looked at the ISQ report, did you go right at the red bubbles, or were there things that you kind of had in the back of your mind already that you were interested in?
Well, I had some things in the back of my mind, and as a first-year principal coming in, I didn't really want to jump in and make a whole bunch of changes just off the cuff. So we let about a year go by, and then the next year when we got the results from the ISQ survey, I had some things in mind, but the bottom line was that the information from the survey was so vivid that that's where we went to. I went right to the red dots and said, these two things have to change.
What, in as specifically as you can be, what systemic efforts did you make in those first attempts to change the school environment? Do you remember?
Yeah, the first thing we did is we decided that we were going to make the students more accountable for their homework and their classroom work. So we implemented a program where we took the ISQ survey to the school board, along with the recommendations from our community council and our staff, and we implemented what we call now the 70% rule. Once a week, we check every kid's grades. And if they're behind in a class, which means they're below 70% in any class, then they're required to stay after that on Monday, on the first day of the week, to get academic help. All the teachers stay. We pay the teachers extra money out of our quality teaching block grant, and they stay, help the kids get caught up. If at the end of the grading period, the trimester, those kids are still behind, they're required to go to summer school. And if they're still behind in summer school, they're required to repeat the grade. And we no longer do we social promote in the middle school. And the first year we had about 28 kids in summer school. The second year we had 17. The third year we had 12. The next year we had 5, and down and down and down. And this past year we had 2.
Wow, that's incredible. Are there any other, that's a huge commitment to the students and learning, but were there others in terms of parent community?
Yeah, the one thing we did is we were in the middle, not in the middle, at the beginning of our accreditation process, and the ISQ survey fit the accreditation process perfectly, and we used the ISQ information to inform the parents of this is where we're weak, this is what we need to improve on. And we got the buy-in from the parents and from the staff and the school board to implement our grading policy, but also we saw that there was a problem with the parents not feeling like they were not knowing what was going on in the middle school. So we did a couple things. We started a middle school newsletter that the kids put together, that they write and publish, and we send that home. We put it in every mailbox in the county, so everybody knows what's going on at the school from the student's point of view. And also we started pushing our student information system for the parents, and really made a big push to get the parents to log on at home and check out their kids' grades daily or weekly. We also implemented a program of a planner where the kids have to have it signed every week by their parents, so it tells them what's going on in the kids' class.
Wow. Were there any challenges that made some of this difficult?
We had some big challenges, especially with a required summer school. We had a lot of parents that balked at that, and a lot of kids that were like, well, we didn't think you were serious.
Mm-hmm.
But it was your choice. You can come to summer school, or you can do the previous grade over again. And once they knew we were serious about it, the buy-in was strong, and the success has been terrific. We don't give any failing grades in this school. The lowest grade you can get is an I, which is in progress.
Wow. So after the years passed and the environment was, clearly different in the eyes of all of the constituent groups, can you describe kind of what it feels like? Why is it different here?
I get asked that question quite a bit. I think the biggest thing is that I wanted to help raise these middle school kids like I raised my own kids. We've gone a step further too, where we try to reward the kids for their good behavior and for their good grades. We give ice cream parties every week for those kids that are caught up in their classes, and we implemented and used the praise note method of giving kids notoriety.
Do you think parents of kids that were here before you came on board could come back to the school and see a difference? Would it be something that they could feel as they walk through?
Yeah, I would hope so. I've had more than one person come to me and say, we moved out of the district and we're moving back because of the way our kids are treated in the school and the way they feel like academics are very important.
Now, with that cohort of kids that we're talking about, by the time they got to 8th grade, was there a noticeable difference in them?
Oh yeah, they were proud. They were very proud. They were leaders. They pretty much told the 6th and 7th graders that you better get on board, or this is the way it is, and this is the way we are, and we're proud of what we've achieved, and the skyrocketing test scores and the friendly environment.
Is there anything else you want to add? It's pretty much the end of the interview.
Wouldn't have been able to do it without the ISQ. It's been very successful for us. We had buy-in by the school board, but we wouldn't have had buy-in with the school board. I really believe this, if I wasn't able to show them the ISQ. Everybody thinks that because it's a perception thing. Our staff and some of our parents and some of the students don't think that the students are committed to excellence. And we need to change that.